hearty 100th homecoming welcome to Manhattan and the Little Apple, where Kansas State fans will watch two teams hoping to rebound from difficult losses. Oklahoma in Dallas to the Texas Longhorns, and the Wildcats in the final minute in heartbreaking fashion to TCU. Two of the game's all-time winningest coaches face off one more time, bringing you their best. Coming up right now. And welcome to Bill Snyder Family Stadium in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, for this Big 12 matchup between the Oklahoma Sooners, 1-1 in conference play, and Kansas State at 0-2. And we start with the standings in the Big 12, where Baylor is about to move up to 3-0 to join Oklahoma and TCU. But Oklahoma making Oklahoma State and TCU because the Sooners are at 1-1. Kansas State 0-2, but in heartbreaking fashion, they could easily be 2-0 if the end of two games had gone a little better for them. Hello again, everybody. Along with Don Davenport and Ray Bentley, I'm Dave Lamont. Thank you very much for joining us. And Ray, one of the most talked about games last week was Texas beating Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. They beat them up and made Oklahoma look bad on offense and on defense.
Yeah, and we'll start with the offense, Dave, where protection was the biggest issue. They gave up 6 sacks in this ball game, and in particular had trouble in the 5-man protection. You've got guys throwing no-hitters. They aren't blocking anybody, and then there's a lack of communication up front where you have 2 guys on one, but neither is primary, and they let them get split through there. They have to clean this up if their quarterback, Baker Mayfield, is going to have any chance of throwing the football down the field this afternoon.
They had problems on offense. They really had problems on defense, even with the most basic things, tackling.
Yeah, it really broke this old linebacker's heart to see that kind of effort. They were not doing things you need to do to get people onto the ground. And primarily it's about effort, in my opinion. It looked like in this one they're playing touch football. They tagged him 3, 4, and 5 times, but nobody went and tackled them. And here, then they even got in each other's way. You're going to have 2 guys basically take each other out of the play. They took poor angles. They left their feet. All the technical things that you are not supposed to do, they did it bad, and they need to improve that today for sure.
It is fair to say that Kansas State could be 2-0 in conference play, and we'd be talking about them in the playoff race, but they had last-second losses to Oklahoma State and to TCU. What do you take out of those losses?
Well, I tell you what, I think that they're a pretty good football team. You know, those are good teams that they lost to, and they're also a young football team, especially by Bill Snyder standards. He likes to go with the older guys, the upperclassmen. So they're developing confidence. They are improved, and I think this is a football team, Kansas State, that will have perhaps a say in who will win the Big 12. They have Baylor coming in here on November 5th. So watch out, as the Wildcats may just have a say in the Big 12 race.
And some of that youth is at the quarterback position. Joe Huebner did not start at the top of the depth chart, but he is there right now because of injury and some other factors. And for more on Joe Huebner, here's Don Davenport.
Yeah, Dave, a former walk-on. On top of that, Joe Huebner never even started a high school varsity football game at quarterback. Not one. He tells me that this leadership role, it's been a bit of a challenge for him to get used to it because he doesn't have that experience to draw from. Now, I will say, watching him in warm-ups, not a whole lot of dialogue between him and his teammates, more of a methodical, quiet routine for Joe, but he did say it's starting to click thanks to his teammates. He feels that they're behind him 100%. They respect him. So, guys, don't be surprised if we see a more vocal Joe Huebner today than we've seen in the last few weeks.
All right, Don, thank you very much. We are just about ready to kick it off here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Purple just about everywhere, save for a little sliver reserved for the Sooners fans. We are close to kickoff. A cloudy day, but not unpleasant here in Manhattan. Temperature right around 60 degrees as we head to the sidelines. Don Davenport standing by with OU coach Bob Stoops.
That's right, Coach Stoops. Your guys coming off a tough loss to Texas last week. When you look to bounce back here, what was your pregame message to them?
Well, we've had a good week of work. Guys have had a lot of energy. You know, we're excited to play. Let's put that behind us and go out and play our best game today.
All right, appreciate the time. Thanks.
All right, Don and Coach, thank you very much. Oklahoma will get the football first. Kansas State deferred to the second half, so we'll get a look at either Alex Ross or Duran Neola to run the kickback for OU. In the white, Kansas State in their purple. And there's a lot of purple around here. 100th homecoming in the Little Apple. And we begin this Big 12 matchup with a low line drive. And that'll just go out of the end zone for the touchback. Ross will let it go. And here comes Baker Mayfield, the junior, formerly at Texas Tech. Walk on there, transferred, did not play last year, and now has the offense for Oklahoma under the new coordinator, Lincoln Riley.
And he is a spark plug, Dave. I love the energy that he plays with. He's always hustling around, running around, patting guys, getting people excited. The thing about him, though, is he's young, and he will try to get out of that pocket too quickly at times when he really is not in any kind of jeopardy. That's one of the keys for them today, is for him to time this offense out a little bit better.
And I'll begin with Samaje Perine, the powerful running back. He'll pick up 4 before he is brought down by Elijah Lee as we go through Ray's impact players.
Well, we'll start it out. Perine, the running back who set the college football world on its ear last year. Sterling Shepard, an outstanding receiver. And Willis has to get pressure today. And there's Shepard right there coming out of the blocks down the middle. He is as good as it gets. Had 15 catches for 197 yards against Kansas State last year, Dave.
He is on the Maxwell and Bolitnikoff watch list. Picks up 22 there off the play action fake. They again fake play action. They go out to the far side of the field to Jarvis Baxter, who is shoved out of bounds into Kansas State territory to the 42-yard line. We're going to call it a gain of 7. Second down and 3 coming up. Playing very quickly. Mayfield leading out the Sooners attack, has 3 receivers to his right. Perine still the tailback. Down the middle of the field, caught at the 30-yard line, and inside of the 25 to the 22-yard line. D.D. Westbrook, the junior.
And Mayfield has come out slinging. You can see the confidence oozing out of him the way he's thrown this football here to start this ball game. Everything is a strike so far.
Well, they're not getting any pressure on him as part of the deal. He goes inside the 20-yard line. A sweet move by Shepard. Shepard down to the 5, has some blockers, and he is into the end zone for a Sooners touchdown.
And that did not take very long for Oklahoma to put last week's woes behind them. And you're going to watch Shepard on this just a simple out route, little play action, and the defender Nate Jackson way away from him. It gave Shepard the room to put a move on him, break that tackle, and take it into the end zone.
Mayfield on that drive was 4 of 4 for 71 yards.
And every pass was right on the money. He's very accurate. The one thing he will do, though, Dave, is, like I said, flush early, and he'll also overthrow some of the shorter passes.
But unlike last week, if you watch the game in Dallas, the Longhorns got a lot of pressure on him. And at least on that opening drive, Oklahoma had plays where there was really no time for Kansas State to do it.
And that was the key. And if they can keep him clean, they're going to roll up and down this field.
It was that fast. 5 plays, 75 yards. Shepard with a 22-yard reception in 64 seconds. Shepard had 2 catches on that drive for 44 yards. He could well be a player you'll see on Sundays.
Yeah, I would think so, Dave. 3 plays in that drive were 20 yards plus. This offense came out slinging. That's as good a rhythm as I've seen them have yet this year.
So we'll find out very quickly how Kansas State recovers from that with Dominique Heath and Morgan Burns back deep. Burns has returned 1. In fact, the opening kickoff of the entire season for the Wildcats. He returned for a touchdown, 100 yards. Got a chance here. Short kick at the 12-yard line. And Burns has some room here to work. If he can get to the edge. He's going to have to turn, though, and he's going to run out of room at the 40-yard line. But a very interesting return and a very heady return by Burns of 28 yards. We take a look in his 24th season and his second stint at Kansas State. 190 wins for the man they've named the stadium after, Bill Snyder.
And rightly so. What he's done here, I don't know if people realize where he took this program from when he initially came here back in the day. It's been an amazing transformation, turning them into a power.
And Kansas State gets a break. They pick up 5 yards, and Oklahoma being called off sides. So it's the 45-yard line now for the Wildcats and Huebner. And Huebner on the timing pattern there, caught by Kyle Klein. And that's going to be right at midfield. And interesting to see Huebner surrounded by a couple of fullbacks as we take a look. That completion percentage, is that deceiving at all?
A little bit. He's had some guys drop some footballs on him for sure. But he struggled on some of the shorter throws, in particular the lateral throws, which are so important in this day's college offenses where you get the bubble screens and quick screens and things of that nature.
Now 3 receivers to the top of your screen, 1 underneath, and Justin Silman into the tailback. Silman goes out for a pass. Huebner slings it in his direction, and it should have been intercepted.
P.L. Lindley had it, Dave.
Wow. It almost looked like Lindley was the intended receiver.
And he's going to drop out of his defensive end or outside linebacker position. He got right under Silman, and the ball hit him in the hands. Bad place.
3rd down and 5, and a gigantic break, because not only could he have caught that, he could have taken that all the way. Heath goes in motion at the slot, looking that way, and he is hit immediately. Tremendous effort by Oklahoma defensively, and what a spirited bunch. A loss of 4 here. Will Johnson from the nickelback position, number 12, made the play. This is a completely different start for the Sooners than a week ago.
No doubt. They have obviously learned their lesson. There was some talk that they weren't ready to play against their rival Texas last week, which is mind-boggling, but they've come out afire this afternoon.
Low snap for Nick Walsh, the punter, and he was able to handle it and just blast away. A tremendous kick. Now, did the ball cross the plane? That's what matters. And the officials are ruling it did not cross the plane, and it's going to be marked down at the either the 2 or the 4-yard line. The 2 officials are going to discuss it.
And here's he got the nice bounce, and then he threw it back before the ball broke the plane. Doesn't matter where the player is. It matters where Zach Reuter was. Actually, that's Moore. They have a couple of number 15s. So Moore makes a heady special teams play as we take a look at the areas of improvement that Bob Stoops is looking for.
They ended up marking the ball at the 6-yard line. Pirine remains the tailback. Quick throw again. Everything so far very fast-paced for OU. And this is going to be a 1st down, a pickup of 11 yards. D.D. Westbrook, the junior from Brenham, Texas, just to follow up on that rule so you're clear on it. In college, if the ball breaks the plane, it doesn't matter what you do. It's a touchback. The NFL rule is different. And we have a Kansas State player shaken up. So what do you mean here? These are areas that did not go well for Texas that you've identified, and obviously Bob Stoops was hitting these pretty hard.
Right, and this is what he came out with. They have to run the football better, which is difficult to do when they're in this air raid offense that Lincoln Riley brought with him to Oklahoma. The protection, we highlighted that at the top of the show. That has got to get better, and we saw what Baker Mayfield is able to do when he does have that time. And, you know, they have to do better at tackling on defense. That is the main thing in terms of their deficiencies from last week.
Nate Jackson, the player, is shaken up. And you notice something a little different about Bob Stoops today?
The headgear.
There isn't any headgear. And believe it or not, that is tribute to the HBC, the head ball coach. Bob Stoops worked with him at the University of Florida. And so he is eschewing his visor in honor of Steve Spurrier. That was from our Dawn Davenport, spoke to Coach Stoops earlier. Now Mixon joins the backfield. Here's Pirine, power runner, and he'll get out to the 24-yard line. A solid pickup of 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
Pirine is having a hard time finding out where he fits in this air raid offense. He's a between the tackles, shoulder square type runner, which is what he got done on that last play.
Mayfield flushed out of the pocket, almost got hit from behind. Actually, he did absorb some contact, but able to get off a strike to Deron Neal, the senior from St. Louis, a gain of 9 and another Sooners first down.
And it was Jordan Willis who had the pressure, and he almost caught Mayfield from behind, but his quickness enabled Mayfield to buy the time in the room to complete the ball down the field.
Mixon motions out. They stick to the ground, Pirine up the middle, and that'll be a solid 4-yard pickup for the middle of the defense comes in there. So right now, Kansas State, is it fair to say that they're a little bit on their heels defensively?
Big time. And right now, the rhythm of this Sooner offense is as good as it gets. Mayfield 6 for 6 for 92 yards already in just a one-plus drive.
Now Mixon on the ground, stumbling just a little bit. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage. So 3rd down and 6 coming up. Sean Newland was in the area also for the Wildcats.
And I think Oklahoma's better off running straight at this Wildcat defense like we've seen Pirine do a couple of times. When they try to get to the edge, that's when Kansas State is able to pursue and slow down the running attack.
First time that OU's been on 3rd down today. Little pressure on Mayfield, and he will go down at the 30-yard line. Caleb Pruitt, the safety, with the sack.
And Pruitt just comes on a delayed blitz, basically, and there's nobody left to pick him up. You're going to see the safety right here just shoot through. And nobody left for Oklahoma to pick him up. They had 6 protecting, and they brought 7.
He's now wearing number 87.
And that tells us that Dominique Heath is wearing number 87. He normally wears number 4, but because there's a 4 on the punt protection team, or the punt return team here, he will wear number 87. And regardless of whatever number he was going to wear there, Oklahoma had him well covered at the 25-yard line. But Kansas State will take over. Big stop by their defense. The State, their defense generating a big sack, and that's been a problem, Ray, against Oklahoma this year, the number of sacks allowed.
Yeah, that was the 17th allowed this season, ranking 117th in the country, and it has been a real problem in terms of how do they protect in this new offense that Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator, brought over from East Carolina.
Charles Jones, number 24, a tailback now for K-State. Hubner wants to take a deep shot. Wide receiver, wide open, and he missed him at the 30-yard line. Deontay Burton could not have been more open, and it's going to be an incompletion. 2nd down and 10 coming up.
And this is a double move. It's basically a sluggo route, a slant and a go. You get good protection, and you see Hubner spots his guy, and he is wide open as Sanchez slipped when he tried to change directions on the double move. And that is a big miss right there for Hubner and company. They needed that one.
Plenty of time here for Hubner. Now he's going to have to scramble. Good coverage by the Oklahoma secondary as he runs right into Jordan Wade, all 300 pounds of the redshirt junior from Round Rock, Texas, for a loss. It'll be 3rd down and about 12 coming up.
Yeah, and Kansas State has come out and thrown the ball all 5 plays thus far, which is a little bit surprising to me, being that Oklahoma has struggled against the run.
And they ran for 238 last week against TCU. Now, a lot of it from Hubner, who ran for 111 and 4 touchdowns against the Horned Frogs. But he's going to try to throw again, and that's going to be intercepted at the 40-yard line. Picked off by Jordan Thomas, and Thomas gets inside the 20 before he is tackled by Cody Cook.
And Jordan Thomas just got a gift because he's sitting back as a safety, and he's leaning. Here he is right here. And watch him. He's just going to sit back in his cover 2. He actually rotates up to the top. I apologize. He was down on the bottom here. But that is just a horrible throw. Hubner looked at it the whole time, didn't use his eyes to try to move any defenders, and then underthrew it on a corner route. When you underthrow a corner route, only bad things can happen.
So magical field position for the Sooners here, and Baker Mayfield has come out with a hot hand. He's got Pirine and Mixon, 32 and 25 as his tailbacks. And this time it's the zone read keeper for Mayfield. Kansas State trying to string him out. He'll get shoved out of bounds at the 10-yard line. He went a long way to gain 6. Second down and 4 coming up.
This is the area of the field where Mayfield becomes that extra player, the 12th man, if you will, because he carries the football a lot down here. That really creates problems for defense. You don't have enough hats.
This time from the left hash. 5 receivers in an empty backfield.
Quarterback draw they like.
Instead, they sling it quickly to Mixon in the slot. Made one miss, and he's got 6. Touchdown, OU.
Too easy. You got the good block on this play that really sprung it loose from number 3, Sterling Shepard. You saw him push it away, push the defender to the outside. There was nobody left for Mixon to deal with. And Kansas State is on their heels, as you said earlier, Dave.
Well, when you think about it, in the previous series, their defense came up with a big stop, had the big sack, but then the turnover on the interception, and it's a 16-yard touchdown drive for Bob Stoops' Sooners. Here's an Heisman frontrunner, Leonard Fournette. Florida, LSU tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. And Bill Snyder, without question, a look of concern there as his team down 14-0. His offense has generated 1 yard on 2 drives, all in the air. And Baker Mayfield for Oklahoma is 7 of 7 for 2 touchdowns and 102 yards. This will be Morgan Burns again, trying to find a gap. He cannot. Bad field position for the Wildcats. We check in the studio the first time today with Cassidy Hubbarth. All right, Cassidy, thank you very much. So we know that Kansas State loves to run the ball, Ray, but all of a sudden it's 14-0, and we're not even halfway through the open quarter yet.
Yeah, and they have to start running the football. They haven't done so yet, at least more than once, and it's been a problem. They got to establish some physicalness.
And Huebner is very good on the zone read. Excellent at faking that handoff. He picks up a hard-earned 5 yards there, so it'll be second down and 5. He ran, we mentioned, for 111 last week in the loss to TCU.
And they have told Huebner they want him to be a little more careful in terms of protecting himself. He did get knocked out of the game against Oklahoma State on the 7th play of the game 2 weeks ago, and they lost their starter, Jesse Ertz, on the very first play from scrimmage in the very first ball game, and that's how Huebner got his chance.
You got 2 fullbacks in the backfield now, Winston Dimmel and Glenn Gronkowski.
That's an odd little formation.
And Huebner thought about a pop pass, and he got popped instead. No gain on the play.
And this is a deal where Huebner is kind of faking the pass, but he's really waiting for the run to develop. And it holds linebackers back, but the linebackers weren't a factor because the defensive line ended up getting it done. It looked like Jordan Wade beat Dalton Reisner, the center, across his face and stopped that for little to no gain.
That'd be a second big play for Wade in the early going. Huebner flushed out. Now he's got room to run here. He'll have a first down as he slides safe at the 29-yard line on the first down of the Wildcats this afternoon, and they badly needed it. Gain of 7.
Great coverage down the field again as Oklahoma's throwing a blanket over Kansas State. And that was the best play they've had thus far today. A broken down scramble by the quarterback.
Justin Silman remains the tailback for the Wildcats. 5 to snap. Looked one way, and he's going to have to scramble again and invent one and just throw it away. 2nd down and 10. We take a look at our second set of impact players.
And Justin Silman has come on and taken that starting running back position. I love it. He's a north and south guy, finds a little crack. That's all he needs. Deontay Burton, their big play threat down the field. Eric Stryker and Matt Romar up front for this Sooner defense have been outstanding. Stryker's the edge rusher, and Romar patrols those A gaps on either side of the center. And he is a beast. He is a force in there. And it's a good matchup against him and the redshirt freshman Dalton Reisner today.
That pass was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and let's see what the ruling on the field is. Is it a catch? Yes, the officials say it is a catch at the 35-yard line by Cody Cook. It's a gain of 6, 3rd and 4 coming up.
And it's just a simple hitch route by Cook, and he does a great job because that easily could have been called pass interference. The defender was just draped on his back, although I do believe it was tipped, and that's why there was no call.
Dominique Alexander was in defense that time, so you got another big 3rd down here for K-State. They need 3. And we're going to get a booth review on this, I suspect, of whether or not this was a catch.
The ruling on the field, completed pass, is now under further review.
Don Capral is our replay official today. He'll be looking at this one. Reed Wren, the communicator. And that is an gosh, that's a tough one. It looks like it bounced off his leg initially, but did it hit the ground?
I don't think it did, Ray. I'll be honest. I think that's a catch. I think the ruling is going to stand. We get a couple of really good looks at it here. You watch, see, the ball doesn't go down to the floor there.
It looked like it hit him on the thigh pad.
Yep. You're right about the interference, by the way.
Yeah, and it bounced off the thigh pad as Will Johnson had the arm around the waist. And I don't think it hit the ground. At least there is not indisputable video evidence to the contrary. I think this play will stand.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass.
The ruling on the field stands.
Yep. So as we were about to get ready for a 3rd and 3 snap, now we will do so again.
Coach Stoops said his team prepared very well, and that's the one thing you got to worry about when you lose a game in the fashion that they did last week to Texas, where it was just a poor performance across the board. You can't let that same team beat you the following week. You got to clear it, get rid of it, and move forward. And he felt his team did a great job of doing that, and the evidence is on the field thus far this afternoon.
Hubner throws quickly. A little contact there at the 43-yard line. The Kansas State bench doesn't like it. Jordan Thomas, who has an interception already, defending against Deontay Burton. It'll be 4th down and 3.
And I'm not sure if Burton got even his hands on. It looked like it went right between his hands. That's a ball he's got to catch, and he's being told that on the sideline right now. Even though the coverage is tight, you still got to get the hands on it and reel it in.
Sterling Shepard's a very good return man, almost 11 yards per return for OU. This is a funky looking punt. And Shepard looking up in that sunshine here in Kansas will take it at the 21-yard line. Speaking of the bright sun, let's look at the bright side. Brought to you by CarMax. And of course the relationship between Bill Snyder and Bob Stoops goes way back.
Yeah, in fact, Snyder was the coach on Hayden Fry's staff at Iowa when Stoops came as a player. Now they were on opposite sides of the ball, but that's where the relationship started. And you see them both in this picture from back in the day. And afterwards, Stoops joined the staff, initially as a GA and then as a defensive assistant, and they stayed together through 1995.
Where he went off to join Steve Spurrier at the University of Florida for a few very successful years before becoming the coach at Oklahoma, where he's had a ton of success as well. This is P. Ryan bouncing off tacklers, and he's cut down after about a 7-yard pickup at the 29-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 3. 8 Big 12 titles for Bob Stoops. 12 10-plus win seasons.
but it's what have you done for me lately business that he's in. And
no
that's been
doubt.
a problem.
Mayfield has time. Deep shot down the middle of the field for Westbrook. Oh, it's incomplete at the 27-yard line. One-on-one with Duke Shelley, a true freshman. It's incomplete.
Yeah, Shelley, his red shirt got burned last week when Morgan Burns couldn't play. But he came in and played a really nice ball game, and that is an outstanding job of staying on the play, because there's no doubt he was beat. But he went to the football and got his hand between the two hands of the receiver, Westbrook, and knocked it down.
Mayfield guns it right to the sticks. That should be a first down. We'll see where they mark it. They will mark it a first down to the 33-yard line. They needed 3. They got 4. Micaiah Quick making the catch.
Quick ran a very nice route because he got a yard past the sticks when he broke it to the outside. A little timing route and excellent delivery from a red-hot Baker Mayfield.
Mayfield with a great play-action fake, avoiding the rush, directing his receivers, and then being sacked. Will Davis, one of the linebackers for Kansas State, in there on that sack.
Yeah, but Mayfield made about 3 guys miss by the time he finally got down there. Nice play-action fake, and you see his movement in the pocket is outstanding. He just has that extra sense of knowing where guys are coming from, and that's a nice tackle by Will Davis.
Tanner Wood forced him out. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Empty backfield here for the Sooners. And down he goes. Whoa! Will Geary, former walk-on out of Topeka, Kansas, just destroyed this play.
Yeah, and he's going to come right there on the left side of the screen, and he's looked like he was getting ready to run a stunt, and the linemen were setting up a screen. So ultimately nobody blocked him, and he realized that and said, well, hey, here I go. I'm going to go get me another sack.
Loss of 7. Geary 2.5 sacks on the year. He is their weight room champion. He's the guy everybody watches work out. Mayfield, long throw, incomplete. Well covered again by the freshman Shelley, and it'll be 4th down, and OU will have to punt. Westbrook, the intended receiver.
And Shelley has been impressive in this particular drive. Really, Mayfield had little chance of completing that ball. He was late.
He's now playing with number 87.
He was late getting it out of his hands, which I think affected the whole play. And that's one of the things that Coach Stoops said he needed to improve upon.
Austin Seibert, who also handles the place kicking, a very short punt, fair catch by Dominic Heath. And let's go back to the studio and Cassidy Hubbard. All right, Cassidy, that was a mixed group of predictors on game day today between Alabama and Texas A&M.
They didn't ask me, but I took Alabama. I think they're going to be hard to beat the rest of the year.
Charles Jones getting the carry and nothing. Boy, you saw number 1, Dominique Alexander, the second biggest tackler in the Big 12. In terms of volume, just stuffed that play for no gain. 2nd down and 10 coming up.
And Alexander is a high school safety, and here he is, a linebacker, and he's just going to step up into the hole and take care of the play. That's outstanding vision, staying lateral, not overrunning the play, and then filling the hole when the opportunity is presented.
Hubner has the underneath, throws into traffic. Oh, what a fine catch. Cody Cook, the senior, got hit twice and was able to hang on for a first down in the OU territory.
This is a nice throw from Hubner, who has struggled a little bit today, but that one was on a rope and directly on target, splitting the 2 defenders.
31-yard pickup, Ray, and it puts the football at the Oklahoma 28-yard line. Now the fullback Glenn Gronkowski comes in, number 48.
This is the area of the field where Kansas State will open it up a little bit. If they have any trickeration in the playbook, in the game plan this week, this is where they like to run it.
They better hurry first. They get it off just in time. They go basic with Jones, who plays off a block beautifully. And Jones gets an 8-yard pickup. He is brought down by Ahmad Thomas, the strong safety out of Miami's Central High, a great football program down there. Stephen Parker in there as well.
Great blocking. You had the Boston Stuyvesant, the left guard, pull around and kick out the edge contain man, and that created the room for Jones.
Final minute and 24 of this opening quarter, dominated by Oklahoma, but this is the best look the Wildcats have had so far. Jones again. No chance. He'll lose yards. That was slammed shut by Eric Stryker. Third down coming up. And here's a gigantic 3rd down and 4. They do have a fine kicker in Jack Cantelli, but right now field goals don't look very good if you're Kansas State. Little old-fashioned option. Hubner to keep, and Hubner gets the first down of the 15-yard line. Ward on the stop.
I don't know what the Kansas State coaches saw, but they did a great job of reading this blitz. These guys are going to come on the blitz, and they show it late, but Kansas State runs away from that, and that's an outstanding decision and play selection in making that change and picking up that first down.
And that will be the end of the first quarter. For the first time, Kansas State is on the move after Oklahoma got a couple of Baker Mayfield touchdown passes. This presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Second quarter about to begin here in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. What a beautiful day and a fantastic facility here at the Bill Snyder Family Stadium. I'm Dave Lamont with Ray Bentley and Don Davenport. 62 degrees. Might feel a little cooler than that by the time we wrap this up this evening. Mostly cloudy skies. Sun has peeked through, though, but it's just a terrific setting.
Oh, it's football weather, Dave.
Yeah, it's ideal. We start the second quarter with Kansas State in the Oklahoma red zone for the first time today. Joe Hubner at quarterback. And there's a late pitch to Winston Dimmel, and that's just not going to work. He's going to be tackled well out of bounds by Dominique Alexander.
Alexander did what good middle linebackers do. He played quarterback to pitch. And there's very few of us who are able to accomplish that.
Very few of us? What was that?
Did I say that?
I know you're not looking at me because I did not play middle linebacker. No. I'm aware that you did.
Back in the day a little bit. I used to play a lot of veer teams, and that was the key. The X factor, stopping option, was always the middle linebacker being able to play dive, quarterback, and pitch, and sell popcorn at halftime.
So that'd be a good idea. A little popcorn would be nice. Hubner in trouble, and there's Stryker. Stryker again. No gain. May have even lost a yard there. We're looking at 3rd down and 10 coming up. Ray, by the way, speaks of some experience, having played collegiately and professionally.
And this is just a blown protection by Kansas State, Dave. I wish I'd have gotten a few of those in my day. As Eric Stryker, they did not pick him up at all. And he has 5.5 sacks now on the season.
3 receivers off to the bottom part of your screen. Hubner going for the end zone high, and it's too high for Burton. 4th down and 10.
Zach Sanchez with outstanding coverage. He forced that ball to be thrown high to where Burton couldn't get it, because if it hadn't been thrown high, Sanchez was underneath and would have been able to make a play on the ball. And Bill Snyder's stance there shows you all you need to know.
Yeah. Well, Joe Hubner did not start the season as the #1 quarterback. As Dawn mentioned at the top of the show, Jesse Ertz was the #1 guy. Got hurt on the first play of the season.
How about that?
And then Hubner took over.
Kind of changes your whole outlook and plan.
32-yard field goal attempt is no good. So all that effort for Kansas State, they finally get in the red zone and they just run into a limestone wall.
Kansas State is going to have to do something, Dave, to get things going. Not even on the board yet.
And following the missed field goal, the Sooners take over the 20-yard line behind a hot hand of the junior quarterback from Austin, Baker Mayfield. Couple of play action fakes, dumps it to Pirine, and Pirine's got some room to run down the sideline. He is taken out of bounds at the 36-yard line by Caleb Pruitt. Well, you think you have some travel problems when you travel commercially? Even charters can have breakdowns, right, Dawn Davenport?
Yeah, I tell you what, it was not a fun trip for Oklahoma to get here. They were scheduled to leave at 2:45, delayed over 8 hours because of plane trouble. They finally got in around 12:30 last night. I talked to Coach Stoops a little bit about it. He said, you know what do you do? We actually sat in the terminal, so the players were not on the plane. That helped a little bit, but they went over film. They got their meetings in. He said there's nothing we could do about it, and he decided not to change their schedule at all this morning. So possibly a little tired, but so far offensively it's not affecting them.
Well, they got some coffee or something in them this morning with that quick start they scored on their opening drive. On 2nd and 8. This is Mixon, and Mixon will get to midfield and a first down.
Joe Mixon on the
In fact, they're going to give him a couple of yards maybe in the K-State territory.
Excuse me, Dave. Going back to that whole travel snafu, sometimes that kind of distraction takes the pressure off of a group. You know, you don't have to think about worrying about the game and getting yourself all tight. You know, you spend time together, you get loose and hang out, and it's worked well for them.
It's worked really well for them. Certainly hasn't affected Baker Mayfield. Now a helmet coming off the receiver, Deron Neal. He will have to come out for a play, but after a 20-yard pickup, he's earned a break.
And they have run this cross-buck play action here a couple of times on this drive, and it has totally confused the Wildcats defense. We saw the fullback wide open in the flat, and then we just saw the play action there with another receiver wide open. When they have the two backs in the game, look for that.
Right now, just the one, and that's Mixon. Middle of the field, strike thrown by Mayfield inside the 5, and then in the end zone is Sterling Shepard. 28 yards and another touchdown pass by Baker Mayfield, his third.
And this is just a simple post pattern, and it's a mismatch. Morgan Burns cannot hang with Sterling Shepard. I mean, that's as obvious as it gets right there. He, first of all, gave him too much respect, way too far off of him, giving Shepard that inside cut, and that's as easy of a throw as Mayfield will get.
Well, Sterling Shepard has 176 career catches, 20 touchdowns in his career, and he lit up Kansas State last year with 15 catches and 197 yards. He's got 3 for 72 now. Beautiful redesign of the football building here. A stunning weight room, locker rooms, and beautiful purple colors. Jordy Nelson, who played here, donating to that, and they've spent almost $200 million on facilities, not just for football, but for other athletic endeavors here. They had a rowing recruiting trip going on when we were here yesterday.
It is part of the arms race in terms of facilities in big-time college athletics. Vital part of the deal.
This will be Burns lining this one up. But you can tell there's a definite wind advantage now that they've shifted ends. Kickoffs that were hanging up there for Morgan Burns are not hanging up now. Celebrating its 11th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Look at that. For speed, they talk about they want to go fast. This is what Lincoln Riley, when they brought him in from East Carolina, this was the design of his offense to score quickly.
And they have hit a rhythm today, Dave, that I haven't seen them do consistently yet throughout the season. And I talked about it earlier between you and I, how the lights will come on like flipping a switch in this type of an offense. They have come on today.
Justin Silman getting the handoff, and he sort of runs into the middle. That'll be a 4-yard pickup as we check in once again with Cassidy Hubbarth. That is absolutely stunning, Cassidy. Thank you very much. And it's not like they've played slobs either. I mean, what they did Northwestern last week, although Northwestern had another tough day today, it's just remarkable.
And they're playing hard-nosed, old-fashioned Michigan type of football.
Blitz coming here. And they go on the ground for a short gain. It's just about the 30-yard line. And speaking of the Big Ten, we've got one for you tonight. Number 1, Ohio State on Saturday Night Football, presented by Wells Fargo. Christian Hackenberg and the Nittany Lions take on the Buckeyes. Ezekiel Elliott, who was a Heisman candidate there for Ohio State. Penn State takes on number 1 Ohio State Saturday at 8 Eastern on ABC. Also streaming live on Watch ESPN. And by the way, I'd like to nominate Dalvin Cook for some Heisman consideration also. The Florida State running back had another big day today.
He's hard to bring down.
You can ask anybody who's run up against him so far. Hubner lobbing it up, and that was nearly intercepted. A big hand fight that time between Cody Cook and Will Johnson, and Johnson ended up getting his hand on the ball. It's 4th down and a Wildcat punt coming up.
And Johnson did an outstanding job of cutting off Cook's route. He was right in front of Cook. Cook had nowhere to go, so they battled a little bit, and Cook actually turned into the defender and knocked it out of the hands, or we could have had another interception.
Shepard awaits another punt from Nick Walsh. Low. Shepard makes the catch at the 41-42-yard line. So excellent field position for a Sooners offense that really doesn't need it right now. They're just humming along. Dominating that game.
And as the season goes on, those big boys will play each other and knock each other off, which is what I love about college football.
Where every game pretty much matters, especially at the top. And another first down. This time Duron Neal, and he is shoved out of bounds at around the 40-yard line. And let's see where they mark him out. Looks like the 39 is going to be the resting place for the football. An 18-yard pickup.
And that'll help the average for the Sooners, Dave, averaging 10.3 yards on first down here this afternoon.
They go on the ground now. Here's Pirine running downhill. He'll get to the 31-yard line. A pickup of 8 and a flag coming in. We have not had very many penalties today. Nate Jackson, who's back into the game after being shaken up.
Yeah, just one penalty so far this afternoon.
Holding. Offense. Number 11. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And that's number 2. Both of them on Oklahoma as Westbrook gets caught with the hold.
So we showed you the bareheaded Bob Stoops there. If he was really going to honor Steve Spurrier, he would have taken a visor and thrown it.
Right. And you can see right here is the hold, and that's where it happened when the defender tried to pull away. That's Duke Shelley.
So first down and 13. Under 10 minutes remaining in our half. In trouble, and he is sacked again. Just spun around by Travis Britz, the senior from Harrisonville, Missouri, and Geary in there again.
It was Geary who ends up making the play on a simple stunt. They looped Jordan Willis around, but Geary, this is the second time where he really did not get blocked. And those are pretty nice when those happen to you.
The story on Geary is he showed up. He was on the scout team when he first got to K-State. They couldn't block him. And the coaches finally said, you know what, we have to move him over to the other side of the practice field. Mayfield throwing into the pressure, throws incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and long coming up.
Elijah Lee with the pressure. He came off the edge unblocked. And he could have lowered his shoulder and given Baker Mayfield a big hit. He opted to leave his feet and get up in the air and try to get his hands on the football. My personal preference would be to hit the quarterback.
Yeah, but you played in an era where you could pretty much do anything to the quarterback. This is a different era, as you well know. 3rd and 16 here.
I guess in that respect, I was born at the right time.
I think as a player, without question. Pressure again. Mayfield dumps off underneath. This is Westbrook. And he'll be a little short of the first down, but here comes an interesting conundrum. He's about 2 yards short here, and you are rolling along offensively if you're Oklahoma.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and kick a field goal here and get the points. But I got to commend this OU offensive line for picking things up, and they are not. They are going to go for it, Dave.
Yeah, that's a long field goal. Even with the wind, it's 48 yards, and Seibert's a fine kicker. But his long of the year is 44. Right now, Oklahoma looks very discombobulated, however, trying to get the right personnel on, and they've got 7 to snap it.
And Kansas State needs to come up and put some pressure on these receivers, and they take a timeout.
First charge, timeout, Kansas State.
So it was Oklahoma that looked disorganized, but it's Kansas State that burns the first timeout of the half. You take a look at two great and successful coaching minds and friends. Bill Snyder on the left, Bob Stoops on the right. Right now, Stoops has about 20 guys on the field, including the kicker, Austin Seibert, as they're trying to send mixed signals to the K-State coaching booth. I'd go for it here, Ray, on 4th and 2.
Well, you and Mr. Stoops are of like minds.
Which should scare the Oklahoma fans just a little bit. But, yeah, Seibert walks off the field, and here comes the K-State defense. I don't think they're fooled one bit. And my thought is your offense is rolling right now.
I agree.
You really could cripple Kansas State with another touchdown.
They got the numbers if they want to run the football inside with Pirine.
Instead, Mayfield flushed. He'll have to do it himself, and he does. He's got a lot of room to work. Got a devastating block, and he'll get inside the 5.
And that's Sterling Shepard, of course, making a play away from the ball with that devastating block. And Mayfield is outstanding with his pocket feel. He's much better, much more settled this week than he was last against Texas.
And Elijah Lee was the player who was blocked, and he is being tended to right now.
It was a blindside shot that he took. He never saw Shepard coming. And you see Mayfield, he's looking, he wants it, but it's not there. He does a nice job of avoiding Jordan Willis, and here comes the block right there.
Clean hit, Ray?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Got the shoulder in front, and it wasn't any form of targeting whatsoever. It was just a good hustle football play by Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, but you're right. Shoulder, no helmet-to-helmet contact there. But then again, there's no way that Elijah Lee, whom we had a chance to meet yesterday, could see that coming.
No, and that's just part of the deal of playing the game.
Let's check in while Bill Snyder looks over his player, and I'm happy to see that Elijah's sitting up. Let's go to Cassidy Hubbard. Cassidy? All right, Cassidy, thank you very much. That's a significant loss for the Wolverines. I'm happy to tell you that Lee jogged off under his own power. From the 3-yard line, the Sooners Pirine the tailback. Pirine, nothing. And second down and goal coming up.
And Jordan Willis stepped up in there into the hole and took care of business. This has been a problem area running the football down in this red zone for the Sooners. And in large part, it's because they have, you know, that wide open attack, and they don't spend a lot of time running the football. And they haven't really polished that part of the game up.
Wide open, touchdown. That was very easy. Mark Andrews, his 4th touchdown catch in just his 9th reception this season.
Andrews does a really nice job of running the route. It's almost a pick route between the two. As you see, Mayfield's going to roll to his right, and there's just a lot of traffic. The coverage was just almost impossible for Caleb Pruitt to get through the traffic to get on his man. That's why you have to press guys on the goal line, in my opinion.
Well, this is a vastly different looking Oklahoma team from one week to the next. After they were somewhat humiliated at the Cotton Bowl, they are dominating in Bill Snyder's Family Stadium against Bill Snyder's Wildcats. And a touchback for Kansas State. They'll start at the 25-yard line as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary here in Manhattan. And it's been all Oklahoma from the first drive, Ray, to where we are now. And it's been Baker Mayfield who's just been absolutely brilliant.
And that offensive line in front of him, they have protected extremely well. And the game plan. You got to give Lincoln Riley a lot of credit. He kind of almost took the offensive line out of it to some respect because he's getting the ball out of Mayfield's hands so quickly. Mayfield completing right around 84% of his passes right now.
Hubner, late pressure coming, and he is going to be brought down by Charles Walker, the redshirt sophomore, now with 2.5 sacks on the season.
Walker is going to just rush to the outside, and he just overpowers with the strength. He just pushed Cody White here right back into the quarterback's lap and then got rid of him.
Cody Whitehair is kind of the leader of that offensive line. 2 sacks now for the OU defense. He's the one who gives everybody else a hard time, so he's probably giving himself a very hard time there, number 55 in purple.
He's been around long enough, though. 44 out of his 45 games in his career he's started.
Hubner slings it.
That's a horrible throw.
And it's intercepted. Zach Sanchez, his 2nd pick. And the former freshman All-American gives Oklahoma great field position.
I'll give Hubner credit this time. He used his eyes to look away, but then when he turned back, he did not get his body set the way he needed to and just makes a poor throw. I mean, this is just about 4 yards from where he needed to target the throw. Watch his eyes. He's going to be looking this way initially, and that does a great job of getting him the one-on-one that he wanted on the other side. And Klein runs a nice route. It's just a poor throw by Hubner.
So sudden change, 2nd interception by the Oklahoma defense, and here comes Mayfield, who's riding the hot hand. He's got Daniel Brooks, number 34, at the tailback for the first time today, and pitches to him. And Brooks has a good block from Andrews, and he'll be brought down to the 20 after a 7-yard pickup. Sean Newland, the safety, had to come up and make that stop.
And Brooks is the fastest of the 3 Sooner running backs that rotate through. Pirine, Mixon, and then Brooks comes in. He's a change of pace guy, has excellent hands as a receiver, but he's explosive. He can hit a gas pedal.
Fake it to Brooks out in the open field. This is Neal. Neal will get a first down, dragged down on the 14-yard line. Hit made there by Sam Sizlove, number 41, a redshirt freshman linebacker, and they're warming up is Zach. That's Cody Cook. That's not Zach Davidson, and we'll tell you more about that in a second as Pirine bounces off some shoulder tackles, gets inside the 5. He'll have a first down and goal. There's 19 players in there right now. Only 3 guys were not involved in that scrum.
It might take that many to get Pirine down sometimes when he gets those shoulders squared.
Gain of a dozen here.
You mentioned Cody Cook, Dave. He took over against Oklahoma State and was outstanding.
Pirine did not have the football. Had he, it would have been a touchdown. Instead, it was held on to by Mayfield, and he didn't get anything.
And I'm sure Mayfield has made a mistake prior to that, but that's the first overt one that I've seen today in terms of his decision making. I know he wants that one back.
Lost 2. It'll be goal to go from the 4-yard line. Coming up to the 5-minute mark in a half that's been dominated by the visitors. They put the fullback Flowers way off to the top of your screen. Go the other way. Fade pattern. Beautiful throw. Another touchdown. D.D. Westbrook.
Westbrook did an outstanding job of tracking this football because he was looking over the inside shoulder initially, and then he'll flip it to the other side and basically runs away from Shelley, and that's a perfectly thrown ball from Baker Mayfield. And they set it up nicely. They motioned the fullback to trips on the other side, so they knew they had one-on-one on that left side, and Westbrook wins the battle.
2 turnovers by Kansas State has turned into 14 Oklahoma points. And Baker Mayfield, get the helmet stickers in Bristol ready for this guy. And an interesting decision that may be coming up from Bill Snyder. Has he pulled Joe Huebner and replaced him with the wide receiver / quarterback Cody Cook? We'll know here after this kickoff.
I think you should. Huebner has struggled mightily, just 4 of 12 and throwing the football this afternoon with a couple of interceptions.
And only 39 yards. And again, with that wind at his back, the kickoffs are vastly different. Another touchback out of the 25-yard line, and it looks like now Cook would be out there normally anyway at the receiver position, but now it looks like he's been handed the football. He's going to take over at quarterback, although you see Huebner still trailing in there, trying to be a good teammate.
It's definitely going to be Cody Cook's chance to take over this offense, which he did against Oklahoma State on the 8th play of the game. And I got to tell you, Dave, he was outstanding. I was surprised at the time that Bill Snyder didn't make the decision to go with Cody Cook as his #1 quarterback.
Well, there's more to the story. If you're wondering why they're going with a wide receiver, we got to tell you the whole Kansas State quarterback story. Is Justin Silman is the tailback. Cook had 2 touchdown passes in that game against the Cowboys. Right now he hands off, and there is nothing there. Stryker and Walker on the stop. Let's go down for more to Don Davenport.
Hey, Dave, first I want to address Ray's question. I actually asked Coach Snyder that prior to the game. He said, you know what, honestly, we need him at wide receiver. We have too many empty or openings there. He said, basically, we need him to play 2 positions for us. We can't just have him at quarterback. So there's your answer there. Cody Cook actually played wide receiver at community college, but he was recruited as a quarterback. During the bye week, he took plenty of reps at quarterback. Coach Snyder making sure he was ready for this.
2nd down and a dozen. Thank you, Don. Now behind Huebner on the depth chart is a redshirt freshman named Zach Davidson, but he has not taken a snap in a game this season. A handoff here, and that is Glenn Gronkowski. And yes, that is indeed a member of the football Gronkowski family. But let me finish up here. They also have a redshirt. They have a freshman named Jonathan Banks who they do not want to use, and they do not want to burn a season. They want to save him. They started the year with Jesse Ertz at quarterback. Lost for the season on the first play of the game. Alex Delton, the backup to Huebner, lost for an indefinite period of time a few games ago against Texas San Antonio. So that's why we're looking at a wide receiver / quarterback.
Basically a 5th string quarterback.
Yep. And he'll keep it. And nice run here from Cook. And there you see the wide receiver part of him, and he gets out to the 43 before Parker brings him down, and a 1st down.
And this is the thing I really like about Cook is his ability to read the zone read part of this offense, and then he's such a threat when he does run the football. He also throws the ball extremely accurately and well down the field, which is, I think, something that Huebner struggles with.
Now he is Huebner's 6'6" and Cook is 6'1". Do you see any issue there?
That's part of it. On paper, Huebner should be your quarterback. but on the field, I'm giving it to Cook.
This is almost a Wildcat formation for the Wildcats, as Cook will pick up 5 before he brought down by Ahmad Thomas, the strong safety. It'll be 2nd down and 5 coming up. But at this point, if you're Kansas State, why not try something else? Because the other stuff wasn't working.
You know, and to refute what Coach Snyder said to Dawn, you need a quarterback a lot more than you need a wide receiver. That's where your production's going to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cody Cook is the man for the rest of the season for this Wildcat football team at quarterback.
We still can't get a good read on when Alex Delton will return. Cook, and he's got to make a move, because that time Zach Sanchez came running in and brought him down after a very short gain.
Now Sanchez comes on the corner blitz and he times it up immaculately. Look at how he closes. And that time the hesitation by Cody Cook to let the blocking define itself cost him. And that's a great call by Mike Stoops over on that defensive sideline for the Sooners, knowing what was going to come and turning Sanchez loose to go make the play.
Under 2 minutes, and what's been one of the longer drive for Kansas State in terms of time, mainly because they've gone to run plays. Now Cook's going to lob it down the field, and incomplete, and he flags new. Deontay Burton was the intended receiver. Coming up on the Cooper Tires halftime report, we'll talk about that Big Ten Classic in Ann Arbor. SEC West upset. And Baylor doing what they do, piling on the points. That's all coming up on the Cooper Tires halftime report.
I think the wind might have hurt that throw from Cody Cook. He got it up in the air and floated it a little bit.
Fair catch inside the 15-yard line. We've got a great way for you to get ready for NFL Sundays with NFL Insider Sunday edition, with all the Week 6 injury news, fantasy implications, and early breaking stories at 10 a.m. Eastern. Then at 11, Sunday NFL Countdown with Boomer and the boys. It all starts at 10 a.m. on ESPN Eastern, streaming live also on Watch ESPN. So with a minute 24 to go on all of your timeouts, but you don't have good field position, we'll see what Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator for the Sooners, and Bob Stoops will do here.
I don't think they're going to try to slow it down or shut it down.
The empty backfield kind of gives that away, doesn't it?
Right.
Quick throw, good block, Mixon, and an excellent tackle. Good solid hit by Sean Newland, the sophomore from Prairie View, Kansas, after a gain of 5.
Yeah, you do not want to slow this thing down, especially with the way that Baker Mayfield has hit his rhythm here this afternoon.
And they do go on the ground with Mixon. Flag comes in behind the play. He'll get knocked out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 22-yard line. Sam Sizlove in there. Let's see what this penalty's about. Again, it's been a light day for flags.
Holding. Number 78. Half the distance to goal. 2nd down.
Apologize for some of the troubles with Dan Romeo's microphone. So they'll back up the Sooners. They hit Orlando Brown with that penalty.
Right, son of Zeus Brown.
10-year NFL vet.
On the left tackle, left side of your screen, he gets beat up the field and just latches on to the shoulder of Tanner Wood. And that's kind of right at the point of attack. That's a tough place to get away with one.
I'm now beginning to think they might go conservative here, although the clock is stopped at 57 seconds following that penalty.
Yeah, it depends on if they can get a first down. Get it moved out a little bit.
They go on the ground. Ooh, nice move there by Mixon.
That's what you call giving the leg and taking it back away.
8-yard pickup.
He just hiked the leg up over the top of the defender coming in right here. That's a one-legged hurdle that looked pretty good there to me. Just got right over the top of Sean Newland.
Another tackle by Tanner Wood, but no urgency here.
No, and no need for it.
They take a timeout.
Pretty good lead here. Things have gone extremely well in this first half for the Sooners, without a doubt. And they'll probably use a timeout or even take the penalty.
They'll take the timeout with about 12 seconds to go. been an odd stretch in this series that the road team has been winning lately. And we go back to last year, October the 18th, 2014, Kansas State takes the lead. They win this game with special teams. They get a blocked PAT and then a 19-yard field goal missed. And Ben, yeah, that's exactly what it felt like to Bob Stoops.
Yeah.
But
coaching's a tough business.
Today is a different day.
It is.
It's a tougher business for Bill Snyder. The last time the Wildcats won over OU in this building, 1996.
It's been a while. And that's kind of amazing to me because overall Coach Snyder is 8-10 against OU. So that means that you're right, the road team has had the advantage in this series, especially of late. But I am really surprised that Kansas State came out the way they did today, Dave. You know, they opened up and they threw the ball 5 out of the first 6 plays, and Hubner was not on, and that got them behind the barrel right away.
Back to the ground they go. P. Ryan adding to his yardage total, stops the clock with 6 seconds to go for the first down. That'll move the chains.
And move the clock.
And that will do it. Off to the locker rooms we go at the half-hour score, 35-0 Sooners. When we come back, the guys in the studio, John, Mac, and Mark, will catch you up on everything at halftime after these messages. And all of the kicking so far by Boomer Sooner, dominating this game really from the first drive on. They've been aggressive offensively and stout defensively, and they lead 35-0 here in the Little Apple. With Ray Bentley, Dave Lamont, we didn't see this coming, obviously. We had teams we thought were trending one way, but typical of this college football season, now they're trending the other way.
Right, the typical, atypical college football season we're experiencing. I did not see Kansas State coming out here and giving such a poor effort. It's been amazing to me as well, the transformation of Oklahoma, how the issues they had last week have disappeared. They only missed 1 tackle the entire first half, Dave, and then Baker Mayfield has been outstanding, and Sterling Shepard, his #1 target. Those guys have really torn it up here in this first half, and I don't know how you defend that or stop it, but you have to score. And we'll see if Kansas State can do that as they'll get the first crack at it.
Mentioned they missed 1 tackle in the half. They missed about 100. It seemed like their fans, I'm sure, feel that way, and probably their coaches last week in that loss in Dallas to the Texas Longhorns.
Missed 5 on the 1 play we showed you.
Yep. Not today. They've really buttoned it up, and they've been super aggressive offensively as well, as the air raid attack that Lincoln Riley is known for, having played for Mike Leach at Texas Tech, and then taking that in his young coaching career. He's just 31 years old, and working for Ruffin McNeil at East Carolina most recently. It has worked very well. Now, Kansas State has swapped quarterbacks. They've gone to Cody Cook, who began the afternoon as a wide receiver with some experience at quarterback, and he, number 19, is going to stay in there with Joe Hubner on the bench. Empty backfield for Cook. He is a capable thrower, and he'll lob one deep down the field. And underthrown, tapped back by Jordan Thomas. And let's get more from the third member of our team for the field, Dawn Davenport.
We need to open it up. That's what head coach Bill Snyder told me here at the half, and he's going to go with Cody Cook to try and do that. He said he liked what he saw out of Cody Cook so far in the first half. He said he just needs to continue that. He likes his confidence that he's seeing from him out there.
And Dawn, we saw up in the first play. He opened it up. Just the pass was underthrown, and they are throwing into a bit of a wind, going left to right as Kansas State is. That is going into the breeze here in Manhattan. Incomplete, 3rd and 10 behind Burton.
And you can see there is a little rust on Cody Cook. Now he'll get, and I asked Coach Snyder about this if he's getting any reps in practice, and he said he has been taking one series with the second group and a few plays with the first group, so he's not totally just stepping off the turnip truck into the quarterback position, but it takes a while to get that timing down.
And that's what I'm going to say. This is not the time to get your timing down. But then again, I'm sure they didn't anticipate. Well, they did anticipate possibly having to use him, but certainly not in this situation.
No, they did not expect Joe Huebner to come out and hit 4 of 12 with 2 interceptions.
Pressure from OU. Cook hanging in there. He fires it. It's intercepted by Zach Sanchez, his second of the ball game. Sanchez with a pass to the goal line at the 5, and he walks in.
And that is when depression sets in.
Thank you, Bill Murray.
And this is just another ill-advised throw. You can see Cody Cook stares it down the entire way, and he's late with the throw intended to Deontay Burton. And Sanchez, he's too good to do that. You have to look him off and move him around with your eyes, or the results will be as they were.
Sanchez with 3 interceptions on the season. Redshirt junior from Fort Worth. 2 interceptions today. And right now, let's take a look at our AT&T strong performance. We haven't seen him in this half yet, but man, Baker Mayfield had an incredible first half with 5 TD passes.
Yeah, he was outstanding right from the get-go. The first drive, he was zinging the ball all over the yard, and it doesn't hurt when you have Sterling Shepard on the other end to get the ball too. This was an outstanding toss into the corner of the end zone to Westbrook. And then another touchdown pass there on the run. Mayfield has been on target today and playing as well as I've seen him play all year, Dave. 18 of 21.
And that kind of reminds everybody who in the Big 12 who may have written Oklahoma off after last week that that's a mistake. Now they're going to go back to Norman, and on one of our family of networks, they'll end up playing Texas Tech next Saturday at 2:30 Central Time, while Kansas State will be heading into Texas, going into Austin, where you really cannot predict what you're going to get out of the Longhorns. You just can't.
No, and that's similar to what this whole season has been like. But back to that Oklahoma schedule, they finish up the year with games at Baylor, home against TCU, and then at Oklahoma State.
Hello, Bedlam.
So they do control their own destiny, and with just the one loss thus far, they're still in the picture for the Final Four and getting into those playoffs.
And the Oklahoma defense has been dominant. The offense has been dominant. The defense will go back out again. They got to be licking their chops. 3 picks today for that group. And again, with the wind at the back, you're just not going to get kick returns if you're Morgan Burns.
Well, Mike Stoops came under a little bit of pressure for the performance of his defense last week. Not so this week. You look at these numbers. This is for one half of work. And you also tack on a touchdown for that defense as well. They have been a big part of the failings of the Kansas State offense. It's not just Kansas State's lack of execution. Oklahoma has been outstanding today. Just a 1 missed tackle, which blows my mind after watching them flop around against Texas last week.
Plenty of time here for Cook, and now he runs out of time, as we've seen this before, and tremendous pursuit. But once again, it was the Oklahoma secondary that allowed, in this case, DJ Ward, number 87, to put the pressure on the quarterback.
DJ Ward, watch him. He's the defensive end right over in this area, and he's going to actually steps up on the outside and keeps his leverage and then races to the corner. And this was a fast guy in Cody Cook, but the big fella stayed with him.
And they only rushed 3 that time, the Sooners.
And get a sack. That's when things are going well.
3rd sack of the day. Cook's going to keep it. Oh, flying tackle after just a short gain. Jordan Evans, who's 5th in the Big 12 in tackles, a junior from right there in Norman, in there on the stop.
And he's one of the guys who had a good game, one of the few who had a good game last week, as he had 11 tackles against the Longhorns. He came all the way from outside on the opposite side and found a window and tracked that thing down. 8 tackles for loss now for this Sooner defense. This is when it's fun to play defense, Dave, because everything's going your way. It's like, let me get some.
Well, they're trying to get Cook right now, being chased, and he will wisely throw it away. He got out of the pocket as Dominique Alexander, number 1, was right after him. And Cook, part self-preservation, part smart football, just got rid of it.
And Alexander came from the entire opposite side of the field as well. A middle linebacker by trade, ended up on the outside edge. And Mike Stoops getting a little creative, letting his inside backers rush off the edge, and it paid off.
Is this a point now, if you're calling defenses, do you start calling 1 or 2 like that just to give teams something to look at as they prepare for you?
For sure. Absolutely. You're looking ahead a little bit.
So is Baker Mayfield, looking ahead to perhaps a 6th touchdown pass. At most schools, that would be a spelling error, but not where Bill Snyder works in Bill Snyder Family Stadium. But it's not working out today for the veteran coach and his Wildcats. It's been all Oklahoma from the opening drive to where we are right now in the 3rd quarter. P. Ryan, the tailback, behind Baker Mayfield, and it'll be P. Ryan. And he will fight for 2 yards to midfield. He'll be checking to the studio, and Cassidy Hubbard. Mayfield guns a pass just past the 1st down marker. Catch again by Sterling Shepard, a tremendous wide receiver, the senior from Oklahoma City.
One of the things Bob Stoops told us they needed to do was get the timing right on their offense. They have done so thus far.
4 for 83 for Shepard, now to the ground. And not a whole lot there for Mixon. Run out of bounds by Sean Newland, getting a lot of playing time today, the sophomore from Prairie View.
And showing up and making plays. And a lot of times you get in these type of situations where you're getting drummed, but guys get an opportunity and you find out, hey, I have a ball player here. And so far it looks like they have one in Sean Newland.
We apologize, by the way. Cassidy's studio wasn't working, but we'll get to Cassidy in an update on what's going on in college football here momentarily. P. Ryan with a short gain. It's going to be 3rd down and 9 coming up for the Sooners.
And it looks like they have pulled back a little bit in terms of the aggressive nature of this air raid offensive attack, which is certainly understandable. But on a 3rd and 9, I think it opens the entire playbook again.
Now you've got Shepard in the slot, 5 receivers in an empty backfield here for the junior Mayfield.
Yeah, they love Shepard in this number 3 position. Like to work him over the middle or bubble screens to him.
And they go the other way. The catch made by Westbrook. He's not bad either. Westbrook tripped up, and it was almost another touchdown pass for Mayfield. And there he is again, Sean Newland, with every possible fiber of his being, doing everything he can to keep him out of the end zone. He did, but it's a 36-yard gain down to the 2.
And that's another great play call, Dave, because Kansas State knows as well as I did, Shepard is a primary guy. They went the opposite way.
Mixon stood up. Sam Sizlove, number 41, preventing that from being a touchdown.
And they run a bubble screen basically on both sides, and Mayfield chooses the weak side where he's got numbers, and you saw the timing of the blocks that showed up, and were it not for the Newland diving tackle, that would have been 6.
Mixon again, new, and there is the freak, Will Geary. Tossed him back, actually. That'll be a loss of a yard. 3rd down and goal from the 3.
Yeah, second big hit by Geary on this drive. And this is also a time where you you find out about your own guys when you're down 42-0 if you're Bill Snyder. Who's going to fold the tent and who's going to stand up and still play their guts out regardless of what's the scoreboard looking like. And so far, there's no question about Will Geary. And threw that fade back down here the last time they did this set.
Going for the tight end Andrews, and it was knocked away beautifully by Morgan Burns, the senior corner out of Wichita, who has broken up a pass in 7 consecutive games after that one right there.
And they tried to get a height matchup with Andrews at 6'5", going against the 5'11" Burns, and Burns timed his jump perfectly to knock it away.
So Kansas State's defense turns back the Sooners after the 36-yard hookup with D.D. Westbrook. This will be a 20-yard chippa for Austin Seibert.
Bank shot.
Yep, little doink action, and it works. It's all bouncing Oklahoma's way here. And even when things aren't perfect, it still turns out all right. Years and years ago, they used to be the Aggies. Now they're the Kansas State Wildcats. That explains why there's a little portion here in Manhattan called Aggie Land, which is, by the way, fun to hang out in. But it has not been. That's maybe where a lot of this crowd has gone, because we had a packed house here earlier filled with folks in purple. But right now it's just the Sooner fans who are hanging out, and a few diehard for Kansas State. It has not been their day. Down 45-0, and they were down 35-0 at the half. Turned the ball over 3 times on interceptions. They have gone to a reserve quarterback in Cody Cook, who began the game as a wide receiver when the starter Joe Huebner was just simply not effective. Touch back to the 25-yard line. So we got a good one for you this evening. I just think that he's that good.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
And how will Florida respond with the loss of Will Greer? We'll see how Harris plays. That's another big issue. Cody Cook hunting and pecking, and it's just not happening. He loses 3. Let's check in with Cassidy Hubbarth. Cassidy.
Number 40, Caleb Ledley on the tackle.
Well, at least Spartans got through and scored on Michigan, but at the moment Michigan continues to be one of the hottest teams in the country against an excellent Michigan State team.
It's uncanny what Jim Harbaugh has been able to do. People were wondering how long it would take him to turn things around. I think that's been answered.
Cook in trouble here. He sensed it, and down he goes. Beautiful tackle that time by Marquise Overton, number 98. Now Cook kind of running for his life on that play.
And let's take a look at Eric Stryker on this play, rushing the edge. He just beats 2 guys basically and forces Cody Cook to move up into the pocket where there is unfriendlies.
4th sack for the Sooners. Kansas State now 71 total yards for the day. Oklahoma 366.
I'm sure Sooner fans are wondering, all right, where were these guys last week?
That's exactly what I heard at halftime from some Sooner fans who were in the press box. And that is the 4th. No, it's incomplete.
Alexander had a chance. He was a safety in high school, so he should be able to handle catching the football, but not quite able to pull that one in.
Almost a 4th interception against Kansas State.
And you feel, I feel bad a little bit for Cody Cook being put in this situation. He's under duress every time he drops back, and it's just not getting a lot of help.
Punting into the wind, Oklahoma's going to get great field position as Shepard is surrounded by 7 Wildcats, but he's able to handle the fair catch signal at the 43-yard line. We'll step aside. Sooners are dominating.
Who's in? Who's in? I'm in. I'm in. Go Tigers. Go Gators.
One of those guys may well be right. Between Les Miles, Florida Gators having a great year with a new head coach. McElwain came out of Colorado State, where he had done great things there, and it's translated well to the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, it's hard to say who has done a better job turning the program around, he or Jim Harbaugh up in Michigan.
Baker Mayfield guns it across the middle. A lot of contact, incomplete. So the pad popping still going on for the Wildcats. And I love your point earlier, Ray, about this is an opportunity if you're Kansas State on both sides of the ball, because the eye in the sky will not lie, that if the coaches catch a lack of effort, it's going to cost you maybe your starting job.
Well, and it should. You know, you play the game to a standard, regardless of what the scoreboard says. And at the end of the game, you look up and see how you did.
Mayfield under some late pressure down the middle of the field. Oh, in and out of the hands of Jeffrey Mead, number 15.
Well, Mead did a really nice job of adjusting to the throw and just out of the beyond the outstretched hands. But watch how he turns this thing up the field once he sees the flight of the ball. Right there, he takes it deeper up the field. He had a step on Duke Shelley and a chance. It just got off his fingertips.
3rd and 10. That is Brooks. Look at that speed. Wow, Daniel Brooks. All the way down to the Kansas State 37-yard line. Goodness.
And we're going to show you this in real speed. This is not enhanced in any way, shape, or form, other than the blazing acceleration of Daniel Brooks.
They bobbled the pitch a little bit, and that time nothing blazing. He was stuffed, as a matter of fact. Once again, Sean Newland for Kansas State seems to be where the action is at all times. That'll be a tackle for a loss there.
You can see, Dave, some of the rhythm that Oklahoma was playing with, the urgency earlier on. When you're up 45-0, it's hard to maintain it on both sides.
Let me correct one thing. That was a gain of a yard, not a loss of a yard. So it's 2nd down and 9. This is Mixon, and Mixon finally gets touched after he got down to the 24-yard line. He carries that tackler to the 21. So that'll be a solid 15-yard pickup. Pruitt and Newland on the stop, and another Oklahoma 1st down.
Boy, there was a great block by Orlando Brown on that one. We're going to show it to you here in a minute.
Incomplete pass, and you're going to have plenty of time to show it now.
Yeah, this was how you basically collapse an entire side. Watch how he blocks down and just takes care of the business here. He washes the whole thing down, and that's just a huge hole for Joe Mixon. When you get 6'8", 342 pounds moving like that, things are going to move in front of it.
Good news for Oklahoma. He's a redshirt freshman. Plenty of time to practice his craft in Norman. Staying on the ground, Brooks again, and he'll get a yard. On top of him is Will Davis, number 35.
You know, going back to Orlando Brown, he's had some difficulties. You know, his father passed away when he was a sophomore in high school, and he's actually kind of connected with Jamal Brown, former Oklahoma Sooner player. Has been a mentor to him, a workout partner. Jamal also a left tackle. And that has really helped expedite the maturation and growth of Orlando Brown.
Mayfield with some nifty work with the football. He's got room to run to his left if he wants to take it, and he will take it. And is wisely stepping out of bounds. I think he sensed the anger of the defender coming at him, but he gets a 1st down.
And look at the way he hustles back into the huddle. I just love the way Baker Mayfield plays the game of football. And then the quickness that he has. He can stop and start on a dime, and guys just don't have a chance to get him. It's kind of fun. It's like I made this point in the meeting. It's like Rocky chasing that chicken around.
That's the chicken, Rock. 9th play of the drive coming up. Back to the ground and nothing there. They might have even lost a foot or two.
Yeah, big Jordan Willis, who is by some would argue the best defensive player on this Wildcat team. I might be one of those. He's been outstanding throughout the course of this season, and He's the guy that they count on to get that pass rush and to make hustle-type plays and use that athletic ability that he has at 6'5", 250 pounds. He can move like a cat.
P. Ryan. And he'll pick up a couple, so it'll be 3rd down and goal from the 8-yard line.
And we'll say this, if Oklahoma's going to compete against some of these other Big 12 teams that they have to face down the road, they're going to have to get P. Ryan going a little bit. And I don't know how you do it. He's got 11 carries for 56 on the ground so far today. But they have not gotten him jump-started. Just one game with over 100 yards so far this year. I mean, he had, 427 in one game alone last season.
Mayfield stepping up. Receiver in the end zone fell down. Now he's directing traffic. He will try to do it himself. Big collision at the goal line, which probably makes the OU coaches a little nervous. He did not get in.
I like the way he plays, though. He's running around and directing traffic down the field and dodging guys all the while.
He got to the 2, so they'll bring out the field goal team. Lowered his shoulder into Pruitt.
That's what I'm saying. He's a football player. And apparently a pretty good dancer and gamer.
So this will be a 19-yard field goal. A year ago, that was a big deal when it didn't go. This time, if this one happens to be missed, and Siebert, by the way, the first freshman in OU history to make his first 8 field goals, and he's popped in a couple today. So it's still Oklahoma, perfect defensively, not giving up anything against Kansas State and moving the ball at will. We have an NFC East battle coming up in Week 6 of Monday Night Football at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Eli Manning and the G-Men against DeMarco Murray and the Eagles. Coverage begins with the Monday Night Countdown at 6. Also streaming live on Watch ESPN. With Ray Bentley, I'm Dave Lamont. Don Davenport, our field reporter this afternoon. And the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. Incredible hospitality. Are some of the nicest people we've ever encountered on our college football tour. It's just not going the way for their home team today. Eventually, Burns is going to get a chance to run these out when they go the other way, and they're kicking into the wind if Oklahoma scores again, which frankly seems like a safe bet.
Yeah, and I don't know what to tell you about this Kansas State offense, because right now they're spinning their wheels, and it's...
Well, they face a big decision for their next game.
Right.
Who's the quarterback going to be?
And I would love to see Cody Cook, after a full week of preparation as the starter, to see how he could handle that.
That's going to be it. Now, this is Bill Snyder has had to deal with these kind of things before. I don't think there's anything he hasn't seen in all his years of college football coaching. But he's got an interesting call to make with Joe Huebner, his starter, having had a very difficult game today. Here is Cook, who's just basically sacrificing his body at times as Evans hits him there after a 4-yard gain. But yet Cook, if you go back earlier, played in the 3rd game of the season when Huebner was shaken up. There's Huebner right there. And I can't imagine what's going on in his mind, the disappointment he must be feeling today.
Yeah, we had a nice conversation with him yesterday, and he seemed at ease and comfortable and confident. But then he came out today and was anything but, and just didn't execute throwing the football.
Catch made there by Andre Davis, and Davis will wiggle toward a first down. It's going to be very close. The officials will stop the clock just for a second. And he did. Let's go to Cassidy Hubbard. See the first down situation. Thank you, Cassidy. That game has playoff implication written all over it. That was the first completion for Cody Cook today, by the way. He's now 1 for 7. Line doing a good job. Cook's going to go for it all right there. Has a wide open receiver. And the effort by Deontay Burton just not quite enough. He was open.
Yeah, he got behind the Oklahoma defense, and it looked like Cody Cook just didn't see him soon enough. Even though he's looking that way the entire time, he lets it go a little late and just a tad long. But any receiver will tell you, you get your hands on it, you got to make a catch.
Second time Burton has gotten past the defense by about 5 yards. You remember in the first quarter, Kansas State had him wide open, and Huebner overthrew him. Now, you never know what happens if that succeeds, because if he catches that, he's gone.
Right, and change the whole tenor of a ball game.
Cook finds a nice gap. Great job by the left side of that line. He'll get to midfield and a first down. Frank Shannon. In fact, he'll get to the 49 after a 16-yard pickup. Final 2 minutes of the quarter.
Cook wanted to throw that football. He had his fullback, Winston Demmel, streaking up the sidelines, but he was covered extremely well. But Cook holding the ball and waiting to see if he came open kind of froze that second level of the Sooner defense, and that opened up the way for him to run the football.
Again, I wonder, Huebner at 6'6" and Cook at 6'1", if a little bit of Cook's problems is just not being able to see over the line.
I haven't seen any manifestations of that,
okay,
but it is a legitimate concern.
Demmel stays in, number 38 at fullback, and he'll get a carry. And he will disappear into the white of the Oklahoma jerseys for a gain of a yard.
Got thrown out the other end of the saloon there.
He's a fullback. He's used to that.
He'll come right back in.
Yeah, he's not going away. Well, unless he's called off the field, and he is.
Oklahoma is doing a nice job in terms of calling their defense today. Mike Stoops, who's up in the booth, no longer on the sideline, has been dialing him up. That time he had Stryker coming off the edge with a corner as well, right into the teeth of the run, forced Demmel to cut it back.
And Cook able to maybe get back to the line of scrimmage. Matt Diamond, junior from Katy, Texas, picks up the tackle there.
And there's just nowhere to go with the football. I mean, Cook has the time initially, but nobody open. And you got to give the credit to this secondary of the Sooners. You see Coach Stoops up top.
The only coordinator in the conference, and he actually, to be honest, was some great TV when he was on the field.
Yeah, he was the show.
He gets worked up.
I love it. The emotion.
Sure.
And that's what defense is about.
Nothing wrong with it. Oklahoma rushing 3, so plenty of time here for Cook. Just cannot get set. Now he's got a couple of receivers open, and he is sacked. Kyle Klein had flashed open about the 35-yard line. He just couldn't see him, and another sack for the OU defense. That will be 3/4 of our ball game finished. 6 sacks by the Sooners as this presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. And the beginning of the 4th quarter, and it's punting time for Nick Walsh, this time with the wind at his back.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Trevor Knight play quarterback for the Sooners here coming up in this 4th quarter.
Punt took a turn, almost hit a Sooner player. In fact, I don't know what Shepard is doing hanging around there. That hits him in the shoe or something. It's a live ball, and it belonged to Kansas State. What a gratifying day this must be for that guy right there. He is wearing a visor. Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator, who's brought a different approach to Oklahoma after several years of doing it one way. And he took a lot of heat after the Texas game, as did all of the Oklahoma coaches and players.
And
but Riley
so,
seemed to be a target.
Yeah, and rightly so, because of the way that they protected the quarterback, or didn't protect the quarterback last week, allowing 6 sacks and never really got things rolling. And that's on him to get things right. And it was an obvious schematic issue. But it seems that they have taken care of that, and now Trevor Knight, as predicted,
yes,
in the ball game.
You clairvoyant, you.
Yes.
And he will hand off to Joe Mixon, and Mixon will get a yard short of the first down. Trevor Knight was the man last year. He is 11-4 as a starter, but Baker Mayfield beat him out for the starting job.
Which is quite a story in itself. Baker Mayfield and his travels. You know, he started out, Dave Baker Mayfield, as a walk-on at Texas Tech and came on and won the starting job as a true freshman, but decided that it wasn't where he needed to be going forward, so he left there and came to Oklahoma on his own. He never even had met or talked to Coach Stoops prior to walking on, and ends up earning the starting job, taking it away from Trevor Knight, and did it again. And he's been really good in 5 out of their 6 games thus far this year.
Particularly today, you see the numbers. We have an injured Kansas State player on the field. We will step aside here in Manhattan. Here is our scoring time. All Sooners today. They're on their way to 2-1 in the Big 12. They'll be 1 game back of Oklahoma State, TCU, and Baylor. Baylor a winner today, while Kansas State will go 0-3 in conference play and 3-3 overall.
Oklahoma gets all 3 of those teams down the road.
They stay on the ground. Mixon and the K-State defenders close him off after a 2-yard gain. Caleb Pruitt was the shaken up Wildcat. He was able to get off under his own power and being looked at by the trainers.
And Sam Sizlove with the tackle. Sizlove, the redshirt freshman, has played well in his limited action.
They go to Mixon again. He breaks through 1 tackle, is shoved out of bounds right about where the marker is by Will Davis, the linebacker, number 35.
And that's Kendall Adams who missed that tackle. And that's a classic example of leaving your feet and not running through a tackle. And that's a fundamental that I see far too many young football players not executing.
I was going to say this might have been a keeper for Trevor Knight if Mixon didn't get his shoe tied in time, but he did. And we'll get another touch, and has a little room. It breaks through 1 tackle, head-on collision right at the first down marker, and it takes several Wildcats to drive him out of bounds. I think that was Newland in there again.
Yes, it was, but Sizlove misses this tackle initially, and it's another case of not bringing your feet with you. I mean, I see it almost. You see it almost every other play, and it's frustrating for an old timer like myself.
54 yards, 11 carries for the redshirt freshman Joe Mixon.
I sound like a grumpy old man.
Not you? No way.
No, that's not me. Just get off my lawn is all I have to say.
Your cheerfulness is infectious.
I'll try to stop them.
Please do.
There's Sizlove coming back.
He made up for it. He brought his feet, his pads, his helmet, and everything else with him to the party.
Boy, that's how you play the game. Nice job of keeping leverage on the play, too. He was the backside linebacker, and you just can't overrun it.
All right, let's explain something here, because you talk about this a lot. When you talk about bringing leverage, what do you mean?
Well, you stay as an inside defender, you stay inside out on the ball carrier. You don't overrun it, and you have a good angle of attack and approach so that you can cut them off at the pass.
Okay.
And now that's one kind of leverage. Another kind of leverage is bending your knees, and getting your butt down, and getting your weight behind your pads so that when you come and you hit, you can go up and through a guy and leverage him. There's all kinds of ways we can leverage this thing.
Except you can't leverage the scoreboard. Not if you're Kansas State. And they're going through missed tackles is Brooks. And he is, oh my, almost got the hurdle. And he is going to be down at the 22-yard line. He tried to jump over Duke Shelley. Here he goes.
And Brooks can motor. That's no question about that. He can get up in the air a little bit too. Got the toe caught on the wire.
35 yards on that. He'll get it again. Bouncing outside. There's Sizlove one more time, doing everything he can to give Ray a good impression of him. He picks up 3.
Well, he impressed me there because Dimitri Flowers, the fullback, initiated a block on him, but Sizlove was able to get off the block, which is so important. Use them hands, push himself away, and finish a play, and he did it.
Redshirt freshman had only had 7 tackles coming in, getting an opportunity now. 6'3", 217, so there's room to build him up in the offseason.
He's going to be a good one, I believe. Corner blitz.
And it almost worked, but Mixon fought right through it. He had great blocking. The spot might be just a tiny bit short of the first down. We'll see after they unpile.
And Shelley, the corner who blitzed, is staying down. And he kind of dove with his head and hit the ball carrier on the thigh pad. And that, I can tell you from experience, can be an unpleasant sensation.
Yeah, the officials were very quick to wave the training staff on the field for Kansas State. Good job there by the officiating crew to recognize the situation. We'll step aside with Oklahoma in front. With a little help, Duke Shelley was able to get off the field under his own power. And getting a good look there. As Ray was telling us during a break, the helmet to the thigh pad is an unpleasant experience.
Yeah, I was knocked out twice in my career, Dave, both times due to the old helmet to the thigh pad.
Third down and inches here for Trevor Knight in the ball game now in place of Baker Mayfield. Very close.
Nice play off the edge. Shooting in there was Donnie Starks, who has been quiet today.
And they're going to give him the first down to the 12. It's been that kind of day for Oklahoma. They scored on their first drive. And Bob Stoops going without the visor today in honor of the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier.
He might want to continue with that if he's of the superstitious ilk.
Well, if they're that superstitious, then they're going to want a 9-hour flight delay
right,
for every game, which I'm going to guess isn't going to always work.
No, really seemed to bother him the way they started this game.
No. Mixon, if he gets to that corner, he's in. Got hit, though, by Newland, who came out of nowhere, and I don't think he got the touchdown. He did not. Newland hit him at the 1. I thought for sure once Mixon got the edge, he was gone.
It had a nice block by Casatati, the big left guard, number 54, came around the edge and pinned the edge, and that allowed Mixon to get to it. But you're right. Newland showed up again out of nowhere.
Saved the score for the moment, but it's an 11-yard gain and a first and goal situation here.
Kansas State brought in some beef up front.
Looking for a touchdown signal. I don't think he got in.
Yeah, they gave it to him.
They did. Okay. All the beef in the world couldn't stop Joe Mixon. Let's take a look. We got a perfect view here.
Yeah, all you got to do is break the front edge of that white strip of paint, the plane of the goal line, and there he is. You see him fall backwards clearly in the end zone. And of course, it's where the ball is what matters, and the ball definitely broke the plane on the little spin at the end.
And they're taking a little extra time to review.
Yeah, want to make sure that they saw what they thought they saw. This is a nice mix of a running attack that Oklahoma has right now with Mixon and P. Ryan, and they bring in Brooks for a little change of pace, the speed guy.
The touchdown counts. Ray, that was a 94-yard drive. Kansas State does not have 94 total yards today. They've got 88. That sums it up right there.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Now, we heard this song a lot today, Boomer Sooner. It's time for our Aflac trivia question. Who are the 4 head coaches with the most Big 8/Big 12 conference win?
I suppose it's on me to give you an answer there.
Yes, we've confiscated your phone, so you can't look it up.
I want to say 2 of them are here with us today.
All right, I will give you that, yes.
And then after that, I'm going to say, I'm wondering how far back Big 8.
Well, we said Big 8.
How about Mr. Wilkinson?
Bud, former ABC commentator back in the day.
And I'm going to stay in Oklahoma and say Mr. Switzer.
All right, we will see how correct you are. I can tell you are halfway there. And we can't.
Survey says.
We're not even going to make you wait.
Very good. I like instant gratification.
Aflac. Survey says. You forgot about Dr. Tom
Osborne, didn't I? Yeah.
Yes, you did. But Wilkinson, believe it or not, not
Big
on
6
there.
days, right?
Yeah. No. And yeah, Bud probably just didn't have enough games.
Right.
Winning percentage is probably off the charts. But remember, shorter college football seasons and things like bowl games and all that.
Let me apologize to the people up there in Nebraska. Should have known that Tom Osborne would be on that list.
And back in the game is Joe Huebner at quarterback.
And he took too much time.
Well,
delay of game. Offense, number 8. 5-yard penalty. First down.
About sums it up.
Number 1 streaming live on Watch ESPN. Bill Snyder doesn't like his teams to be penalized. That was their first penalty today.
Well, there's one positive.
So Huebner will keep it, and he'll be dragged down. And the ball popped out. And it will turn over to Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's, I guess when it rains, it pours.
Oh, that's a flood right there. 4th turnover.
Rolling on the
Dakota
field with a
Austin.
fumble.
Let's see if he actually fumbled it or was he down?
Dakota Austin came up with it. It looked
down
like,
there.
But the ball was moving, and it was on the way out. That's a tough one. DJ Ward with the hit from behind.
I've got to believe this will get a further review, and our referee Dan Romeo is going to head over to the headset.
See where that knee down now. Ball
was moving
to come
there.
out.
Yeah, if that angle makes it look like the call will stand.
Right, and the call on the field, which is vital in these situations, was a fumble.
That angle supports the Kansas State, but remember, it has to be the indisputable video evidence. It has to be 100%
Right.
positive.
That's a pretty high standard.
Yeah, it is, and it's supposed to
Should be, right.
Yes, I agree. This isn't like tennis when they have at the U.S. Open when they have that thing work so easily. Dakota Austin came up with the football.
This is a rough day for
it's just terrible.
Joe Huebner, and didn't see it coming. We've said that a couple of times this afternoon.
After review, the runner's knee was down. It'll be 2nd down on the 34-yard line.
So it's an overturn.
Good fortune finally for the Wildcats. Get back into it. But yeah, Joe Huebner, when we sat down with him yesterday, seemed like everything was right where it's supposed to be. He was progressing. Had played pretty well the previous week. Ran for over 100 yards and moved this offense to the tune of putting up, 45 points on TCU?
He had 4 touchdown runs. He came in at number 3 in the country in yards per completion, almost 16 yards per completion. And today it's been anything but, as you can see right there.
Well, I've seen him go on cold streaks, and usually it's at the start of a ball game. He did that at Oklahoma State before he got knocked out of the thing. And I got to tell you, when he gets cold, he goes very cold. And he started this game today icy cold.
He's going to try to warm it up right down here and overthrew.
It was a little bit of an intentional overthrow. Cody Cook was blanketed, running a route across the middle.
So Cook is back to his natural position. Huebner back to his position. And again, if you're wondering why do they go to Cody Cook, they do not want to play Jonathan Banks under any circumstances. He's going to be redshirted. And Zach Davidson just doesn't have the experience. You could argue this would be the perfect chance to give him that experience, but I'm not going to argue with Bill Snyder.
No, that gives them a better chance to win with Cody Cook coming in for Huebner. And that's the bottom line.
Going to try again, and that's dropped. My goodness, an interception on a plate.
McKinney, he's going to hate himself for that one for a while, Dave. He was playing center field, sat back there, and it was as easy as it gets in terms of an interception. Obviously, Huebner never saw him.
Number 15 is wearing number 31 for K-State.
Oh. Hit him in a bad spot.
The hands. Fair catch called for by Sterling Shepard. If we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, and the man of the match today without question, Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma's starting quarterback, who was unbelievably good today.
He was 27 attempts, 20 completions for 282 yards and 5 touchdowns, a career high. He came out slinging the ball. He was as hot as Joe Huebner was cold. Or Huebner, I should say. Dropped that one in perfectly. And then the defense. Interception right here. Turning things around, turning them over. Thomas with the first one, Sanchez with the pick 6. This defense was ball hawking and had only missed 1 tackle at halftime. Stark difference from what they had done last week.
Staying on the ground with Daniel Brooks. Next week, by the way, Kansas State will travel to take on the same Texas team that just beat Oklahoma a week ago. Texas getting a little time off. And Oklahoma will be home against Texas Tech on the ESPN family of networks, 2:30 Central Time, the network to be determined.
And what will be interesting is to see if Oklahoma can sustain what they were able to put out there here today, because that was as clean and smooth of a performance on both sides of the ball for that first half that I've seen. I mean, they look like a national contender.
Ball across to the 26-yard line. Here is the schedule. We've referenced this a few times. So you see what they started with, that miracle win in Knoxville. They took care of West Virginia. Texas took care of them. Kansas on Halloween night. They'll be back in the state of Kansas. Hopefully the travel will be smoother. Iowa State, Baylor, TCU, Oklahoma State. A murderer's row in the month of November, and Iowa State's never an easy out.
It sets up actually quite nicely for the Sooners.
If they win them, yeah.
Well, yeah, they have to sustain the momentum and the way they approach things this week and then performed this afternoon. But they are right in the mix with that schedule of being one of the Final Four.
Yeah, they can impress the playoff committee with those victories for sure.
Snap. Timeout. Oklahoma.
Yeah, they didn't like what they had going, and
they're up by 55. How could they not like what they have going?
Well, it's it's a football thing, I guess.
I guess so. Well, let's take a look at our good hands play. It's brought to you by Allstate, and it's a player we identified coming into the game as a stud receiver, Sterling Shepard for OU.
Yeah, and this is a run after the catch ability that he has there, and shows it again here, avoiding the tackler and forcing his way into the end zone. And not quite the day that he had last year against these Wildcats, but a pretty good one overall. 5 grabs, 85 yards. And I take that back. 4 grabs, 83 yards, and a pair of touchdowns for Shepard. But also threw several good blocks that opened things up for his teammates, which I love to see. He's got a complete game, an all-around guy that gets it done in every facet.
He's got 30 catches on the year, 5 of them for touchdowns. He had 15 for 197 when these teams played last year. Knight comes out firing, and a catch made there by Grant Botham, number 84.
Trevor Knight's no slouch, Dave. You know, he's displayed an ability to get the football out on time, an accurate, strong arm, and it's not a bad situation. As Kansas State can tell you, when you lose your starter, it helps an awful lot to have a guy that can step in and hopefully not even lose a beat.
Yeah, he hasn't missed a pass yet, has Trevor Knight, the redshirt junior from San Antonio. Coming up to the 7-minute mark in our ball game. Oklahoma's going to go to 5-1. They took a giant drop after losing, and they might inch up a spot or two in the AP poll. Brooks ankle tackle that time by Sir Mikey Moore.
And Moore shot the backside window and took care of business. As you see, Knight's numbers from last year. And the biggest knock there is those 12 picks against just the 14 touchdown passes.
This is the same Trevor Knight, as point out Robert Adamski, our producer, just reminded me that this was the young man that was targeted by none other than Katy Perry when she went and did her stint on game day last year.
Really?
Yes. The bad news is his season started to slip afterwards, as Alex Ross gets a carry.
You think he might have got distracted?
I don't know. She can be distracting presence. I don't doubt. I don't know Katie personally. But
were there fireworks by chance? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, it's okay. Right.
That's what you get when it's late in a 55-0 ball game.
Empty set for the Sooners. Knight got one block to the edge, and he goes right to the marker, and I think he's got a first down. He does, if that's the spot from the lines judge. Yep, first down to the Sooners at the 49.
Yeah, stuck the ball out, and there's no contain for this Kansas State defense because Matt Seiwert was supposed to have contain on a loop stunt and got bottled up a little bit, wasn't able to get out there quickly enough, and that allowed Knight to get the edge.
Back to Brooks. Boy, nice little hop step. How about the fact that this is their number 3 running back on the depth chart, Daniel Brooks, a redshirt junior no less, and he has got a world of talent.
Yeah, they're pretty well loaded in the offensive backfield without a doubt, which is somewhat ironic when you have that kind of stable of running backs and then you switch to the air raid. But that was what the program needed. Bob Stoops felt like it was time to change those things, get a different look, and they brought in Lincoln Riley. And aside from last week, it's been a successful venture.
And don't forget, early in the Stoops era, they did pitch it around a lot.
They did.
They were super aggressive offensively.
Mike Leach was coordinating them for a while.
And Trevor Knight on the carry. Newland with a shove out of bounds, stopping the clock. 4:14 to go. There is Lincoln Riley, one of the hot names in coaching. Was it Muleshoe, Texas?
Yes, Muleshoe, Texas, the thriving metropolis of what, about 800 people, I think.
Yep.
I read, and
we probably are doing a big number of Muleshoe right now.
Yeah. Well, he is quite the thing in Muleshoe, and got them to the state quarterfinals, and since that time they've been on quite a run. The Muleshoe High School, what it must be the Mules.
It is, actually, yes. Ross just lowers the shoulder and lowered the boom. And that is a big collision as we head to the studio in Cassidy Hubbarth.
Also against Colorado, 10-0.
All right. Thank you, Cassidy, very much. And Trevor Knight doing everything he can to bleed the clock, coming up to the 3-minute mark. Oklahoma comfortably in the play. This is a team that had a 9-hour delay getting into Manhattan, Kansas yesterday because of issues with their airplanes. And they spent time in the charter area, the fixed base operation, or FBO, watching film, watching baseball games, watching the Connecticut, the BYU game last night, I should say. Not Connecticut, but BYU.
In Cincinnati.
Thank you. And a victory for Bronco Mendenhall and his troops. And they've really downplayed it. And I know that Bob Stoops would not have used that as an excuse had this game not gone well.
No, it might have helped them. I mentioned that earlier in the broadcast here, Dave. Sometimes a thing like that can divert the pressure off of you and get your mind off the game, and you don't get yourself all wound up and nervous and things. And it also provided a lot of bonding time for the team.
And a timeout.
Timeout. Oklahoma.
Cody Thomas, the third quarterback, is come in, and they weren't quite ready for him. So we'll step aside and get the final 2:13 of this Oklahoma victory in for you. After Arizona State, Utah tonight, keep it locked to SportsCenter at night for a full breakdown of the day in college football, plus highlights and post-game coverage from the Jays, Royals, and the Cubbies and the Mets. SportsCenter at night after ASU Utah on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. Royals have just snuck ahead of the Jays. Cody Thomas, who was 2-1 as a starter last year at quarterback, into the game now, number 14 for the Sooners to hand off. So they have an embarrassment of riches at quarterback.
Yeah, right.
3 experienced ones. Mayfield, who was magnificent. Trevor Knight, who started a lot of last year, and Cody Thomas.
Yeah, this is basically empty the bus time. Everyone who made that 9-hour delayed trip is going to get on the field here today for the Sooners.
And it's only a 45-minute flight, by the way, to get from the Oak City, Will Rogers Airport. What a great name for an airport, by the way. I just love that. And to get to the airport in Manhattan, and a very short bus ride to the hotel. All right. Teacher Bentley,
yes,
take
sir.
us through the report card for Bob Stoops' Sooners, which I'm going to guess should be loaded with good grades.
Yeah, they came out and really earned some good grades here in this little deal. The run game, outstanding, 232 rush yards, controlled the deal, had 3 different guys that got it done, protected the quarterback much better. And I'm giving them an A-, grading on a curve. It wasn't not quite A stuff, but compared to where they were, Yeah, they deserve that grade. The timing, got the ball out on time, way different for Baker Mayfield. He gets an A on that. And then the tackling, they missed 5 tackles on 1 play last week. They only missed 3 all day today. That's a significant improvement. And just missing 3 tackles in a game, that's outstanding.
6-yard pickup that time, as Kansas State will be licking their wounds as they head back to their locker room. They'll drop to 3-3 and 0-3 in conference play, and they've got to figure out who the quarterback is going to be. Will it be that young man right there, Joe Huebner?
Right. Well, you know, it's not all on Huebner. This entire group has to step up. You look at the receivers. Dave Cook had 2 catches for 38 today, and was playing quarterback for much of the time. The rest of the receivers, 3 grabs for 7 yards. Someone else has to step up on that receiving corps. How many times did we see the quarterback, whether it was Cook or Huebner, have to tuck the ball and run because there was just nobody open? I mean, they had the protection. There just was nobody getting separation.
Take a moment to thank the sports information staffs for both the Sooners and the Wildcats and everybody here in Manhattan and our great crew in Manhattan, Kansas. We've had a blast while we're here and would love to make it back here sometime to the Little Apple. A lot of fun.
Yeah, great hospitality.
Yeah, tremendously warm people in this city. Huebner's got some room to work and might be the final play here.
Yeah, gotta think it is.
Of a dominant, absolutely dominant win for Bob Stoops against one of his mentors in the business, Bill Snyder.
Well, Oklahoma back on track.
So would the real Sooners please stand up? Last week, not so much. Today, utterly dominant. So they're going to get a good test, as we pointed out, the rest of the season. Once again, our final score for the final time, Oklahoma dominates 55-0. Now let's send you to John Saunders, Mark May, and Mac Brown in the studio. Men?